It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you're watching First Warning Live, sponsored by Marco's Pizza, where we're focused on the hotter and more humid days that are in view. They're not here yet. They're not even here tomorrow, but they're going to be here eventually. But I do want to address the pink elephant in the room because I do have some people that follow me on social that like to keep me accountable, and that's what I'm here for. It was actually a note from Joanne I believe she's talking about Tab section of York County. I'm talking about Joanne Lane. She mentions that she got some rain today, earlier this morning. Let's take this full screen so you can see. If you look, where did they get some rain today? Around 11 o'clock? Well, she said about a half inch. Just between maybe Coleman Bridge and Newport News. We'll go through this cycle again. This is about a 12-hour look over the last 12 hours. A little downpour. Got a little bit of a downpour earlier today. And again, that's one of the beautiful things about having a weather team. I do know that meteorologist Miles Henderson would have covered that this morning. And again, at midday, typically that's the case. We even had a few showers or sprinkles this afternoon along the eastern shore between the Exmoor Diner and Cape Charles. Did you get some rain? Some of you did get some rain, but if you characterize the whole day everywhere, did you get rain today? Some would say no. Most might say no. But if you did get a little bit of rain, half inch, Joanne, thank you for keeping me accountable. Want to share this information with you because it's very helpful for those of you that need to get out and about, and outdoor activities can be hampered when it does open up in terms of rainfall. Hatteras has a couple of showers off the coast. I can see from our measurement tool that right now that measurement is quite far away at this point. Let me see if I do a little trek here. Maybe about 37 miles, 40 miles or less. That's about generous, about as far as that's concerned. But I can tell you that it's going to stay offshore most of the evening as the clouds will begin to thin out over the next couple of hours. I want to bring this back around because we were talking about weather, and my sponsor, I want to say hi to reset our theme here. We are talking about weather, and that's the main focus, but I do want to mention to you that we are giving away free pizza. Do you know how hard it is to give away free pizza? It shouldn't be hard at all, Aldrich. I know, I'm in line. If you want to sign up, it is randomly selected. The winners are randomly selected from our sales team, but you have to register under our webpage, which is WTKR.com/Marcos. There are 3 Virginia Beach locations that are participating in this contest, as well as one in Chesapeake, one in Norfolk. Soon there'll be another one on South Battlefield Boulevard later this month. That's near the Great Bridge Middle School, a stone's throw away from Great Bridge Middle School. But if you want to check out the free pizza, again, this certificate we're going to be giving away acts like a punch card. Now that we're in September, when and if you win, you'll get a punch card. We'll be able to mark off one per month. That's one large pizza, one topping pizza that's monthly for free, and it really kind of alleviates a little bit of your pizza budget if you eat pizza on a regular basis. I think you're going to love Marco's. You might also try in the meantime, if you're not quite a winner just yet, the Pizzoli, a fantastic item like a calzone or a stromboli. One of my personal favorites is on the left. It's the pepperoni and sausage, but you might prefer a pepperoni magnifico. Of course, Marco's has been a great, generous sponsor, and we're happy to mention to you that they do love weather as well. So let me get back to the weather. That's what we're really focused on. I want to show you the fact that as far as pumpkin spice, right, we just have come off Labor Day. Some know that that is technically the start of meteorological fall. We have now moved into meteorological fall, a second day of it, but it technically begins astronomically on the 22nd. So we've got about 3 weeks to go. And at 2:19, the autumnal equinox will be upon us. Now, is it time for pumpkin spice? That's up to you. That's up to you. If that's something you want to participate in, I know there are many a donut place that will serve you some kind of pumpkin spice coffee, but this is just wanting to let you know that we still have a little bit of ways to go before we are astronomically, technically in fall season. Weather headlines on the screen. Very nice tomorrow. Sunny with highs around 80. Pretty sweet. We're going to be going up from there. As I mentioned, more hot days, more humid days arrive here later in the week. That's particularly Friday and Saturday, where it will feel like summer. And rain chances will move back in a little bit this weekend, but not terribly bad. What has been bad lately has been the ragweed. It's going to be coming down just a smidge, a little bit. Wednesday and Thursday, it's not gone. It's going to be a mostly sunny day tomorrow, and you'll see it's partly cloudy on Thursday, I think, all in all. But temperatures right now, 72 in Portsmouth. We have 72 in beautiful Suffolk, and I can tell you it's beautiful because I just went there. I just visited over, here's Suffolk here. I was just there this weekend on Sunday, having a great time taking 80 photos. I've done now 11 towns, which by my calculation is 880 photographs for all these 11 locations. Love it. And it's one of the fun things I like to do. It's a labor of love. But I get back to the weather. It is 72 in Suffolk. It is 71 in Newport News. And as we slide further out, Pecoson's checking in at 72. Pecoson is 72, Smithfield 71. Our friends in Kiptopeke at 71 degrees, and it's 70 in Nags Head. Current conditions really aren't that bad. We have mostly clear skies as the sun technically went down at 7:31 tonight. It will be going down tomorrow precisely at 7:30. No way. It's not supposed to go down that fast. It is. I mean, our days are getting shorter. That's kind of like the cruel reality of it all, is that our days are in fact getting a little bit shorter. It's just the way it goes. I got a note from, I believe it's Doris. Let me see if I have, oh, actually it's an older note. I guess it was from last night, but it says the same thing. The weather has been great. Not everybody thinks it's great, but if you think it's great, Doris, I'm on board with you because I think that the humidity has been really, really nice. And I do have some cool stats from our friends at the National Weather Service in Wakefield. They said this was the coolest August since 1996. Wait for it. That's 29 years ago. I know, it's like almost 3 decades. Long time. We've had some really nice weather in August, and some are probably going to be feeling like the rug was pulled out from under them because of the fact it's going to get hot and sticky Friday and Saturday. But alas, it will get better. Sunday, it goes doo-doo-doo. It comes back down. We've got a front coming in on Sunday, so you're not going to have the humidity linger for the entire weekend, but certainly the first half of that weekend. All right, current conditions. Let's go to the beach forecast. Tomorrow, it's a high UV index. We're looking for upper 70s. We can deal with that. Water temperature is still pretty delightful for this time of year. 76 degrees, and the low tide is at 10:25. So typically, with a high rip current risk, which we have, 2 to 3 foot surf height, the rip current risk can typically be intensified about an hour before low tide to as late as an hour after. So really, it's the morning hours you want to watch very closely. Pay attention to the flags on the towers and make sure you pay attention to the lifeguards that are on the beach. What do you do, David, if you're caught in a rip current? Well, ideally, you don't want to fight it. You certainly maybe drawn out a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. You get pulled away, but you want to swim parallel. Like a tourist. I'm just going to see how this beach looks. Even though my towel is over there, I'm just going to keep swimming parallel. That could save a life. And many ways to float or tread water if you can, but in some cases you have to just wave. Ask for a lifeguard or somebody nearby to help you for assistance. Did we mention the tropical activity? Not yet? Well, I can tell you it's been ramped up. Now up to 70%. It's gone from like 30 and 40% in the last couple of days. Now it's 70%, and that means we have a better chance that we get the name Gabrielle because that's the next name on the list. The enhanced satellite shows a bunch of thunderstorms that don't look all that organized, but based on the computer modeling, we have high confidence. I say we. The Hurricane Center has high confidence that does get a name and will likely happen in probably a few short days. But how far away is this? I mean, it's off the coast of Africa, so you're probably looking at well over a week. And some of the early runs of the modeling want to take it maybe closer to Bermuda. We'll see how that plays out. It's still too early to make those final assumptions because a lot can change. And you know, when it's just a disorganized bunch of thunderstorms, we don't have a lot of certainty as to its ultimate destination. But I can tell you that Gabrielle is the next name on the list, followed by Umberto, followed by Imelda, and last but not least, we have Jerry. And Jerry is actually my father's name, so I know he's eagerly waiting for a storm that he can call his own. I don't know why. I don't know what is it, bragging rights? I don't know. What is something? But if you are on the list, I'm kind of curious to know, are you excited to be on that list, or is it just painful to see that, that's just going to be an issue? Okay, I got another note from Denmark. He's on the screen here from a Today comment. I'll fly in here. I'll illustrate his note. He says, "Hey, David, been busy, missed some." Oh, I turned this off here. Did I miss this? I put this on here. It's not connecting. I don't know why. Let's see if that works. Nope, it didn't work. Oh, there it is. But anyway, I'll put him back on there. He says, "David, been busy, missed some recently, some First Warning Lives. I haven't known what the weather's going to be. Educate me." I'm going to do my best, Denmark. It's not your favorite cup of tea. Because if I know you and I know Kim Thompson-Jones, you like cooler weather, that's what you had today. because the high today was only 77. Tomorrow, we're going to be closer to 79, but I'm telling you what, Friday and Saturday, you might want to bury your head in the proverbial sand because it's going to be hot and humid and sticky, and it's going to feel like it's in the mid to upper 90s. Mid to upper 90s is what it's likely to feel like pretty soon, so bear with me. It's going to be hot down the road. Let's get back to the maps as I'm looking at my hurricane season names on the screen. I can tell you it is the 2nd of September, and we're getting closer to September 10th. September 10th is important because typically at this stage of the game, we typically see maybe September 10th here. There it is. So I can see that we're just 8 days away from what usually historically is the peak season where a lot of activity typically occurs. Now this may be your favorite part of this live stream, and I got to give props to my friend and colleague, meteorologist Tony Nargi, put this together. Now, he's just out of Penn State, so he's got all the statistical equations, quasi-geostrophic theory. He's got everything in his brain, and he also has the standard deviations probably committed to memory. So my question to you, as I set this up, which weather event is less likely, the key word less, which weather event is less likely to happen than winning the Powerball? I'm going to be clear, winning the Powerball, based on what we've had in reports of the news, is 1 out of 292 million. So let's put this on the screen. Let's just make it a little easier. If I take 1 out of 292 million, that means of the three options, right? Put the 1 in there. 1 out of 292 million, you have a chance of winning the Powerball. Which is less likely? Is it surviving 2 lightning strikes? Is it being killed by hail? Or is it Norfolk getting 50 plus inches of snow? Ooh, that's a tough question. Decisions. I can't really cue up the Jeopardy theme song, but if you're watching live and you want to participate, let me know what you think. I got a note from Denmark. He's probably not too happy about the hot weather. Yeah, he's really disappointed. I'm sorry about that to be the bearer of bad news. I want to know if there's anybody on here who has a guess on which weather event's less likely to happen than winning the Powerball. I got a note from Wendy. She says, hey, I think that was maybe left a few moments ago. We'll take that off the screen. I got a note from Taj. Taj is participating. I'm always appreciative of Taj. He says it's 50 plus. You know what's funny that you mentioned that? 50 plus is actually the right answer. Norfolk getting 50 plus inches of snow is unheard of. Why do I say that? Because in 1980, the most Norfolk ever received in a season, we're not talking about one day, we're talking about the entire season. You could think of it like from November to March, usually, although they take records, I guess, from July 1st to June 30th. But let's just say, for argument's sake, between November and March, 41.9. That's just a little hair less than 42 inches. In 1980, it's the grand total that Norfolk has ever received. So to get 50 plus would be remarkable. Based on his calculations, and I'm giving props to Tony, he says it's 1 in 500 million. So if you have 1 in 500 million, and it's really 1 out of 292 million for the Powerball, this one would be the less likely. Being killed by hail is 1 out of 16 million. I believe there's been only 4 people in the United States, think about this, since 2000, 4 people have died from hail. Maybe you get hit in the head, hit in the noggin. I would imagine there's some danger there, but it doesn't happen often. That's 1 out of 16 million. And surviving 2 lightning strikes, a little bit closer, that's 1 out of 289 million. 1 out of 289. This was 292. So they were close, but it's pretty rare. So everybody says, well, you can't win the Powerball unless you play. But if you really think about it, I guess if you stay indoors, you're not going to get struck by lightning. And you probably won't ever see a snowflake if you go down toward the equator. Who knows? But this is just funny to make that observation. I appreciate Tony for putting the work and the legwork into the statistics. By the way, today's high, 77. This is really remarkable because yesterday was 79. We were 2 degrees cooler today compared to yesterday when the record of 99 came back in 2014. We've had now 2 days below normal in the month of September. No big surprise here. And if you're taking just a gander at some of the numbers here, this all comes by way of our friends at the National Weather Service. I believe we've got some comments here. Let me see if I can put this on here. Yeah, the coolest since 1996. So you got to go back 29 years ago to find a cooler August in Norfolk. Pretty remarkable. Typically, you get 9 days. At 90, we had a measly 2. So Denmark and Kim Thompson-Jones, you really can't complain when you've had the coolest August in more than a generation. Going back to 1996, I think that's pretty astounding. Maybe you do as well. Now, here's something interesting. I showed this yesterday. If you didn't watch yesterday's live stream on Labor Day, I was here. We start with a normal of around 85. We end around 78. So there is about a 7-degree drop from the beginning to the end of the month. In August, it was like 89 to 85. It dropped 4 degrees. So we're going to actually accelerate the cooling process based on history, based on normals, which is based on 30 years. We'll be dropping to about 78 for a normal high at the end of September. Meanwhile, here's what you probably, don't bury the lead, Aldrich. I didn't want to bury the lead. Here's where we're going, right? We're expecting 90 for Friday and Saturday, but it's academic if you have to factor in the higher dew points. The sticky factor is going to push the feels like to 93 and 97. But lo and behold, just like the sound that you typically get from Pac-Man, it's going back to the upper 70s on Sunday. So if you're just patient, you know it's going to get better. You feel like I can hibernate for 2 days under the cold, icy air conditioning of my vehicle or in my home, then so be it. But this is what I'm expecting. And tomorrow is a pretty sweet day too. I mean, 79, today was 77. I don't see the heat and humidity really building until Thursday night and into Friday. And of course, the higher dew points will arrive on Saturday when it's going to be closer to 71 for a dew point, making it feel like 97. We've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. We've had 1 day in April, 2 in May, had 12 in June. I thought we would get a palindrome out of here. 2, and we've had 2 in August. I thought if we get 1 in September, you would have more of a palindrome. But no, this is probably going to be, this is probably going to be a 2 here. If we get a 90 on Friday and Saturday, so we'll get a 2 here, that would bring us closer to about 31. Right now, because we haven't had any in September, it's 29, and the average is 36. So I like to give you context. That's one of the things I like to pride myself in because I like to do the homework, and I thank our friends at the Wakefield National Weather Service office for providing those normals. Now here's something you may not know. We've gone now 13 days. I'll come back here, 13 days without any rain at the airport. Now I know from having listened and read from Joanne Lane's note in the tab section of York County that she had about a ½ inch of rain. So not everybody's had the dryness that Norfolk International has had. But if you're within, I'd say, 3-5 miles of Norfolk International, you haven't had anything measurable really since going back on Wednesday, almost 2 weeks ago. So tomorrow, you can't really count trace, because that's not something, you can't measure that. It's kind of like having dandruff, right? I had a trace of dandruff on my shoulder. That's kind of what we do with the T's. But really, the last time we had any measurable rain will be 2 weeks tomorrow, and we've only picked up 1.6 inches at the airport since all of August. Now, if you want to put this into context, this is probably what will jump off the page. August, we're now 4.25 below average. This is what the rain and melted snow accounts for month to date and year to date. We're running about 5.5 inches below normal for the year. This includes not only the snowstorm, because it includes the rain and melted snow. We know we got 10 to 11, 12 inches of snow in February, but that all gets counted into the melted snow. So really, when you look at the bigger totals, we've had, compared to last year, we had 41 inches. So we actually had 12.72 inches more rain last year at this time than we have this year. I found that pretty astonishing. I mean, the fact that we've had almost 13 inches of rain more a year ago, for some it's not that bad. It's really going to depend on your frame of reference. But if you're on the call, let me know. I want to answer any questions, concerns, or maybe some observations that you might have. I got a note from Luke. I think he's got a note, or maybe just a comment. Okay, so maybe he's excited about, we mentioned Denmark. He's also on here. I got Taj and Wendy, and it's good to see Taj here. Taj had made a correct answering of the trivia question, so congratulations, Taj, for getting that correct. Appreciate you very much as well. All right, so I'm going to take this off and go back to the weather here, as we're just kind of giving you a context in terms of precipitation at Norfolk International, which is where our records are well kept and have been kept for many, over 150 years now. Satellite and radar showing some severe weather perhaps in California. I really have to squint to find this little orange polygon. Is that Southern California? It looks like there's a severe thunderstorm. Yes, it's not far from Santa Barbara. North of, it's Ventura County for a flash flood warning and a severe thunderstorm warning until 5:15 Pacific time, where they could be getting 1-inch hail in that particular storm. Now, I look up to the northwest, where they may be getting some snow in Minnesota before the week's out. This is kind of true, but also kind of weird that they might be getting a little taste of flakes up in Minnesota before the week is through, probably by Thursday. We'll keep an eye on that. But as far as what we're seeing in Chicago, it's quiet. They've got some rain in parts of Tennessee. Oak Ridge, East Tennessee is getting some downpours between Cookeville, approaching Knoxville at this point, and heading back toward the Smoky Mountains and into North Carolina. They've got a little bit of rain also in western North Carolina, but not a whole lot here in the 757. We're really pretty quiet, as I expect these clouds to disappear as the night wears on. What about beach ocean temperatures? They typically drop into the lower to mid 70s on average in September, but by the time you come here, if you're visiting from out of town, no doubt by the time we get into October and November, the temperature drops pretty quickly back to the 50s by November and December, even the 40s by early next year. Low temperatures this morning actually occurred at 2:53 a.m. We hit 68. That was the low, while it was 53 in Suffolk. Highs today hit 77 in Chesapeake and Norfolk, but Norfolk hit 77 just 2 minutes before 3 p.m. That occurred at 2:58 this afternoon. While dew points have been reasonable today, they're going to be climbing up, and as I mentioned, it's going to get really sticky by the time we hit Friday and Saturday. These are the numbers now. They're very easy to take when they're pretty close to 60, but even their dew point change suggests it's a little bit higher than it was this time yesterday. So it's +2, +3 from Currituck to Newport News. Here's where I expect it'll be later this week. So if you are pacing yourself, you're not a big fan of these bad hair days, no question about it. By the time you get into, let's say, humid territory, or 71 would be unpleasant territory, we'll be there, I think, on Saturday. Come close to it on Friday, as these will be rising numbers, and it will feel progressively more sticky as we head into Friday and Saturday, and should be dropping by Sunday afternoon. So the 67 dew point there will be likely falling by afternoon. Dew point temperatures aren't that sticky at all in places like Beckley, Columbus, maybe even bound towards Charlotte, feeling pretty good. And I would imagine in upstate New York, around the Tug Hill Plateau, the Adirondacks, they're pretty comfortable too. Now, it's a little stickier in Hatteras at 63, but all things considered, this is still, I would call, pleasant territory. It isn't that bad, but those numbers will come back up as we reach the end of this week. Temperatures right now, 73 in Knoxville, 75 in Charlotte. We have 70 degrees in Richmond. I want to say good evening to you. Oh, I got another note from Kim. I guess she's having a conversation with, I'm catching it in midstream. She's having a conversation with Taj, who's having a conversation with Kim. See, it's one of the nice things about a live stream. It's always on the move. So let me keep moving. I know that there's some questions about weather that you might have. I'll do my best to answer it and also magnify your questions or concerns. There is certainly a lot of blue up to the top of this screen. I'm talking where it's blue up here is usually cold enough for snow to form. And if it's hard to see, maybe a color distinction on my computer may not be as clear for you, but there's some cold air that will be dipping down into places like Minnesota by Thursday. That's also when the Eagles take on the Cowboys, so some people will be excited for football weather. Maybe they could be dealing with some snowflakes going on in Minnesota by the time this game gets underway. Let me show you the long range, though, as my computer continues to buffer. It'll fill in the coloring here. Bear with me. You can see through the Mid-Atlantic, there's some coloring on the New England side, all the way down from New York State and down into South Carolina. So this will continue to be below normal for the 10th to the 16th. So I'm not expecting hot weather to prevail. It's just like a flash in the pan when you think about this Friday and this Saturday. Even Thursday, you're still in the mid-80s, about 86. But look at the cold air at 5,000 feet. Look at the blue air that dips into Minnesota, dips into maybe northern Wisconsin, right through the early part of this week. And then it starts to retreat. So it's kind of like it spins in and spins out like a wave you find at the oceanfront. But clearly, you can look at these colors and say, yeah, it doesn't look that hot down the road, because you have to have 50/20 vision to be a forecaster. You can't just use your 20/20 vision and say, okay, if it's cold enough up here, some of that's going to influence our weather here in Virginia Beach. Does that make sense? I'm just throwing this out there because some of you don't like the hot, sticky weather. Tomorrow, however, with the sun up at 6:38, going to bed now at 7:30. We were just talking the other day, like, oh, the sun's going down before 8. Well, what if it goes down before 7:30? Oh, that's even worse. That's the bottom of the barrel. Well, it'll get darker a lot faster as we get into the months of October and November. You know that, I know that, but I would call tomorrow still pleasant, mostly sunny, and the winds will be generally out of the north in the morning and out of the east 5 to 10 in the afternoon. That's my expectation for tomorrow. Now, I have basically minimal chances of rain Thursday and Friday. I have it coming up to 30% on Sunday, but it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe we get a 40 percentage for precipitation by Saturday night. So somewhere between, and this is just my spitballing an idea here, somewhere between 11 p.m. Saturday to about 4 a.m. Sunday. Like a 5-hour window where we get some rain. We get more people like Tabb's section of York County say, I got a half inch of rain. There could be some downpours, I think, between 11 p.m. Saturday to about 4 a.m. Sunday. That's my expectation. Could that change tomorrow? Of course. That's why I invite you to come back. But based on the data that I have today, I'm trying to give you the best intel. Yours truly was telling you on the 17th of July, hey, August is going to be cool. And do you remember how hot July was? People thought I was nuts. And yet we still had the coolest, let's keep it real, the coolest August in 29 years. And I was telling you this 2 weeks, 15 days to be precise. Before it happened, I said it's going to get cool in August. Nobody believed me. I got a lot of those crossed arms. I'll believe it when I see it. And that's just human nature. But I can tell you my expectation is it's a Saturday night issue into the pre-dawn hours of Sunday as far as our best chance of rain. So if you're hoping for rain, you might have to pack in your patience for a couple more days. And it's all because of this blue line. This is the front that's going to come in. So once it approaches on Saturday, it's going to be sticky on the front end. The backside is going to actually cool us down in a bigger way. So you're going to start to feel a lot cooler and less humid heading into Sunday. By the way, it is now 8:06. I got to wrap things up here on the weather side of it. I want to also leave room for questions and also some Q&A. 77 for a high tomorrow in Bloxham. 78 for Saxis, our friends in Chincoteague about 76 for Exmoor, Cape Charles, a mid-70s type of day. I think pretty sweet. As we slide down to the Outer Banks, about 74 for Duck, 75 for Manio, 75 for Nag's Head, and if you're in Hatteras, Ocracoke, upper 70s more likely, about mid-70s for Danthe and Manio. Now, we've shown this many a time. The colors really just signify where there is a possibility for isolated severe storms in dark green, or if there's yellow, it would be scattered. Now, you can look at this map and say, I don't see much at all. In fact, I would agree with you. It looks like it's mainly up in places, let's see if I have this right, up in parts of Minnesota. Let me zoom in a little bit tighter. So you can see there's some areas tomorrow, between now and tomorrow sunrise. Minneapolis, St. Paul, they could have some isolated severe storms potentially. We'll go ahead and skip this and move on to the next map. And this one also suggests some green, but also yellow. So the better chance of scattered severe storms on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, is in the heartland. It's Kansas City, isolated in green for Springfield, Missouri, and Dodge City. But really, it's the Kansas City area that could have, including Emporia and Salina, Kansas, they might have some issues with scattered severe storms. And then last but not least, Thursday. We zoom in here and you can see there's some green areas in West Virginia, the western part of our state here in Virginia, western North Carolina, including Knoxville, could get some isolated severe storms on Thursday. That includes all of East Tennessee, Bristol, looks like Maynardville, also into Harriman, Knoxville, and Hartford, as well as up toward Middlesbrough, Kentucky, all part of that process. So that's where we are in terms of severe potential. Let's get you through tonight. I do see a disappearing act taking place in the next few hours, meaning we will say goodbye to any cloud cover that's still out there now. It goes poof. 11 o'clock tonight, there's not a lot to see. Now, I said yesterday that sometimes, not always, but sometimes these models have a hard time figuring out who's going to get rain. And I had said, hey, we had one in Pocosin, one in Newport News. Maybe we get one or two spots that happen to be York County based on the observation from Joanne Lane. But I'm very appreciative of her just notifying me. So, hey, if it happened in the morning, that's why we have a weather team. Hopefully it's acknowledged during the newscast. 7 a.m. on Wednesday, looking good. Again, this might be overstated, but I think it's generally a mostly sunny day on Wednesday. We'll take this full. This goes back more than 24 hours from now. Tomorrow night, James Taylor's at the amphitheater, so you got a friend if you're going to the amphitheater. But then come Thursday, I do know for a fact we got other activities going on. By Thursday night, you have all the small things of Blink 182. So don't blink. They'll be gone in one night special at the amphitheater of Virginia Beach. But look at that. Even 11 o'clock Thursday night, a couple of sprinkles trying to come in, and then they'll work their way out. Tomorrow morning, we're in the low 60s for the peninsula. It's about 60 for North Carolina, 64 south side, but there are some 50s here. You have to just go a few miles away from the influence of maybe the ocean, but it's 54 in Franklin. Ahoskie down to 55, 57 for Windsor, and about 50s for Conway as well. 54 for Cortland, 61 Newport News, and looking for lows. Lows in Moyock around 58 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon, upper 70s will be common. There could be a few locations in North Carolina that exceed 80. I got 82 for Edenton, beautiful Edenton, 81 for Elizabeth City, but 79 for Hampton, Gloucester, Portsmouth, and 76 for Virginia Beach, about 79 for Norfolk, and 80 for Chesapeake and Smithfield. I hope that helps assist. All right, here's your first warning. WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. 79 tomorrow, 86 is warmer on Thursday, but the 3 H's come back to play on Friday. Look at this. If you don't get below 70, boy, that's sticky. And here I got us about 73. Some may not even get below 75. Friday night, you're going to like, man, it feels like the dog days of summer have come back. And maybe they have for just a 2-day special, because we're back in the upper 70s on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, as we'll continue to watch what's going on in the tropics. I think by this time next week, we'll have probably not only a name, which will probably be Gabrielle, but also a better handle based on the spaghetti plots of where this storm might be headed down the road. By the way, beautiful pictures. It's time for some happy shots. Hampton clouds from our friend William Wood from our WTKR photographers group. Love it. York River sunrise this morning from Lori. I understand they had some rain in York County, but this was a great picture around York River sunrise from Lori Long Shirey. And then I believe Mike had this beautiful sunrise today, Chesapeake Bay sunrise. Just gorgeous. Thank you for sharing these great pictures, because again, there's a lot of beauty in every day, and sometimes if we don't see it or maybe aren't looking for it, sometimes we can miss it. Here's the first warning again. First warning, 7-day forecast for WTKR, 86 Thursday, 90 Friday, and 90 on Saturday. By the way, did we mention we're giving away pizza for a year? Oh yes, one large, one topping pizza monthly for a year. It's very easy to participate. All you have to do is sign up. How do I do that? You go to our webpage, which is WTKR.com. You can get all sorts of news and weather and sports at that website. But if you put a / Marcos on it, you will actually be able to register. It takes about a minute, maybe 2 minutes tops, to enter your information. You will be put into a drawing, and every Thursday we're going to announce the winner who gets pizza. But we also give, I like to be able to announce it, we also like to give away the pizza individual pies. We give 10 individual pizzas. So like, you get a pizza, you get a pizza. We're doing that on Thursday. This has been like a regular thing for us. We've given away, I say on behalf of Marcos, hundreds of pizzas, because you figure somebody gets a certificate, that's 12 pizzas. We've been doing this since May 19th. So a lot of folks who are liking the pizza, like a pizza weather party, we love being able to give away the treats and the pizzas themselves. But just to remind you, if you haven't checked out the Bozzoli, the Magnifico, you can go to marcos.com at any time. Don't forget the deal of the week. Did I mention that? How did I miss the deal of the week? I mentioned this yesterday. It is the Mike's Hot Honey Magnifico. You could use, use the code and save a tremendous amount of money, which is the web promo code WTKR Sunny. That's our call letters. The Mike's Hot Honey is like one of these hot things that are hot special type of thing, where people are putting it on pizza and chicken. And I believe Mike comes from Brooklyn, New York. And so this has been like a cool thing that people are adding to their pizza. Marcos has seen the wisdom to add it to their menu. You can get a $10.99 pizza with the Mike's Hot Honey. It has a very sweet taste, like honey would, but because there's chili peppers in it, it has a little bit of a kick. It's a 1-2 punch. So it's sweet to start, it goes down a little spicy. It's really good. I really like it. I ordered a large, but you can get a medium for $10.99 using the promo code WTKR Sunny. Again, Marcos, thank you for sharing that great deal with us. We hope to be able to give away the pizzas on Thursday, as we typically do anytime on Thursday. We love to do that. So thank you so much for your participation. And to satisfy your appetite, be sure to go to marcos.com anytime. All right, just to remind you, thank you so much for your patience with me. I am a work in progress. This is an experiment. We like to try this platform simply with the fact that we probably live more time on our phones now than ever before. And if that's the case, this might be the best way for you to get the weather information. So give us your feedback. Always appreciate that anytime, day or night. Anyway, make sure you know that it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny, it doesn't matter if it's serious. The weather could be serious. It'll be hot and serious this week, later on Friday and Saturday, but every day is a gift. So make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow. Take care.